Hey guys, Will here, welcome back to the channel. Now today's video is not the video that I had intended to make today. Unfortunately, I had a pretty catastrophic failure of my rig yesterday. Now I want to preface this by saying that this is not any manufacturer's fault, and I want to make that absolutely clear because obviously there's a lot of manufacturers that have been involved with this build. BenQ have very kindly come on board and provided the monitors. Next Level Racing very kindly provided the GT Track Simulator rig that you see beside me as well. So this wasn't any of their fault, and I want to make that absolutely clear from the onset in this video. Now the reason for the failure was actually one of the 3D printed VESA mounts that I made for the BenQ monitors, and this is one of the ones that is actually starting to fail already, and I didn't notice this at the time, but I can see it now. Actually, now I'm looking at it, and I'll show you that in a little bit more detail later. But basically, the backstory here is, if you watch my previous video where I was actually putting the triple monitor stand system together, one of the things that I highlighted there was that the manufacturer that was building the VESA mounts for BenQ monitors went out of business a couple of months back now, and there's not actually any official VESA mounts available for BenQ monitors anymore, which is a bit of a problem. Now, I understand that BenQ are working on a solution, and in the time being, they have very kindly provided a CAD file to the actual genuine mount so that people can come up with their own solutions and have things fabricated. Now, as of yet, nobody's actually come to the table with a aftermarket solution, but there are a couple of 3D printed solutions available. Now, some of you guys that have been following this channel for a long time would know that I do actually have my own 3D printer, but unfortunately it wasn't big enough, the bed wasn't large enough to actually print these mounts. So I had to commission a good friend of mine to print these for me, who is well into his 3D printing and knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. And to be honest with you guys, I kind of wanted to talk to somebody who knew what they were doing as well, because, you know, this was a little bit risky, 3D printing mounts for monitors, but I thought it was going to be the easiest solution that would hopefully work for the most people that were watching my videos. So I want to make it absolutely clear once more that this is not a fault of BenQ in any way. This is my own fault for, I guess, taking a risk that didn't pay off. But it's important to be completely open and honest with you guys, and I want to make sure that you guys don't make the same mistake that I made. So basically what happened was, I was about halfway through the qualifying session for my league race last night, and I've been using the mounts for probably 10 hours or so of actual usage time where I was driving, but the monitors have been mounted for 3 or 4 days with no problems at all. And I was about halfway through my qualifying session last night, and you would have actually seen this on my live stream if you were watching on Twitch. But I noticed about halfway through the qualifying session that my left-hand side monitor was actually sagging a little bit, and I thought this is a little concerning here, because obviously knowing that I'd kind of jerry-rigged a bit of a solution, I was very, very anxious that it was going to fall. So I kind of kept an eye on it, and you would have seen me touching it a few times throughout the session. Got to the end of the qualifying session and jumped up to get a drink and come back and have a quick look at it before the race. And you would have seen I switched to be right back mode when I went and got a drink, and then very abruptly my stream cut out. Now, the reason my stream cut out is obviously I didn't want to sort of, you know, broadcast what was going on until I had a good idea of what exactly had happened. But I thought it was important to come back today and make a video to show you exactly what went wrong. So I'll put up a picture quickly for you now of exactly what happened to the monitor mount. Now, I was incredibly lucky that I was able to notice that this was happening before the monitor actually just fell off the stand completely. Basically, I think it was a bit of a miracle that it didn't fall, to be honest, because it was literally hanging by a thread. Now, I'll show you exactly right now what happened. So this is the back part of the VESA mount. Now, as you would have seen in my previous video, I jerry-rigged a solution to actually put it onto the Next Level Racing rig, and that part of the solution was absolutely fine. There was no problem there whatsoever. But what happened was the actual print itself failed along the weak point where the face kind of mounts on here. So obviously with 3D printing, there's always an inherent weakness in that you're printing layers upon layers. So basically what's happening is it's printing up and up and up and up as it goes. And there's always going to be a questionable amount of strength in terms of how those layers actually bond to each other as you're building up. Now, we had a few problems when we were 3D printing these solutions. We had problems when we printed with 100% infill. The overall print was actually shrinking a little bit when it cooled down, and that meant that it was, you know, distorting slightly and wasn't working. So we actually ended up going back to a 75% infill with the print, and that solved that problem. Now, I am not by any means a 3D printing expert, and the guy that printed these for me did say, mate, you're taking a bit of risk doing this. I'm not sure I would trust it, but you know, I wanted to test this out. I think it's an important part of this channel is to, you know, experiment, share the failures, share the successes and things like that. So basically what's happened is when I've gone and had a look at the mount, it was sitting this way on the rig. So when I've had a look at the mount, it's actually been dangling like that and literally hanging by, you know, only a tiny little bit on either side. And I don't know how that didn't just shear off completely. I'm absolutely incredibly lucky that that didn't happen. So I looked at it and it was just hanging by a thread like that, and the monitor was actually resting up against the bottom part of the plate here. So I guess most of the weight of the monitor was actually resting on the bottom of the VESA mount, which is probably the reason why it didn't shear off completely. But I immediately pulled the monitor off the stand. I only had about 40 seconds before the race started. And I had to basically adjust the field of view very, very quickly on my single middle monitor. Quickly took the right-hand side monitor off the stand as well in case that was failing. And ended up having to complete the race with a very, very, very distorted field of view that I'd never actually used before in my life on one of these monitors. So the race was an absolute disaster for me, but that's not the important thing. The important thing was that we didn't have any equipment loss other than just the mount itself. Now, if we have a quick look at the mount that's actually still good, you can even see on this one, and I didn't notice it at the time, but it is already starting to split a little bit there on the side. So very, very, very lucky that I caught this before one of the monitors fell on the ground. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to touch on in this video is just how overwhelmingly supportive the sim racing community in general has been since I started this journey about 6 months ago into getting into sim racing. So obviously I'm new to all of this and I've just been basically sharing my experience as I go along. I've never claimed to be an expert, and I've been learning an awful lot just through reading your comments in the Discord channel, which I'll link above my head for you right now, which I would love for you to join, but as well as just in the comments on YouTube, in forums, in groups on Facebook and things like that. I've learned so much, and I have made a lot of mistakes as I started out on the journey. There's a lot of things that I would have done differently from the onset, and I'm going to be making a video in the next couple of weeks talking about 10 things that I wish I'd known when I'd first started. But yeah, look, you guys have been absolutely overwhelmingly supportive. Now, I wanted to give a quick shout out in particular to John from Racecraft Simulations over in Perth in Australia, because he has been an absolutely massive help. Now, he actually commented on one of my posts on Facebook about a month ago now when I first mentioned that I was getting the BenQ EX3501R monitors, saying that he'd had a couple of problems setting them up with nVidia Surround and that he was happy to help me if I had any problems as well. Now, I spent a good 14 hours trying to get these working with nVidia Surround with absolutely no luck. And I kind of, you know, I wanted to try and sort it out myself, but then I ended up saying, you know what, I'm just going to ask for this guy for some help. So I reached out to him, and he very, very, very kindly shared a massive email chain that he had between BenQ and nVidia trying to sort all of this out. And basically what it came down to was the EDID data for the monitors themselves needs to be modified to actually work properly at the native resolution with nVidia Surround. Now, I will cover that in a lot more detail in another video and show you guys exactly how he set that up. But that was completely his hard work. He spent hours and hours and hours over weeks and weeks dealing with BenQ and nVidia to try and sort this out. And he, you know, basically just shared it with me for free, which was an absolutely massive help because it probably would have taken me weeks to figure it out on my own. Now, one of the things that he mentioned to me while we were chatting was that he actually had some of the BenQ mounts in his stock from a couple of months ago when he got his screens that he wasn't using. So I reached out to him and basically said, hey mate, would you mind selling me a couple of those mounts that you're not using? And he said, well, I don't really want to sell them because I might need them later on, but how about I send them up to you and you can use them basically until you've come up with another solution so that you can keep on racing and keep on making videos. So look, I wanted to just reach out and say, look, thank you so much, John, for your help. It's been a massive asset to the sim racing community in general. So I wanted to give him a shout out. His company is Racecraft Simulations. They're based over in Perth, and basically they're a consultancy company that helps people out that are designing simulator rigs. They sell the equipment themselves. They also hire out gear as well. So check them out on the net, racecraft.net, or also on Facebook as well under Racecraft Simulations. So massive shout out to him. Thank you very much, John, for all of your assistance. And I will be making a couple more videos over the next couple of weeks, hopefully once I get those mounts. But look guys, honestly, I really do appreciate on a wider scale all of the comments and suggestions that you guys have been making. I'm learning such a massive amount from all of you guys, and I'm really enjoying this experience of learning, making mistakes, learning from them, adapting, and sharing that knowledge with you guys as I go. So thank you very much once again for all of the support. Also guys, let me know in the comments below if you think that I should get a Fanatec DD2 wheelbase. Now, this is something that I've been considering for quite a few months now. Obviously there was a delay on shipping, and the reason I haven't actually pre-ordered one was simply because I figured that there'd probably be a flood of reviews on YouTube, and because I'm so happy with the Club Sport wheelbase 2.5 that I've already got, I really couldn't justify the $2.5 grand that it costs in Australian dollars to upgrade. But I'm really thinking strongly about placing an order today for one. I really would love to review it for you guys, but obviously I need to be able to justify the cost for the channel as well. So let me know in the comments below if that's something that you would like to watch. And yeah, look guys, I really hope that you're finding this video series interesting and useful. As always, if you are, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and of course that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. There's going to be a little bit of delay in any more videos on the triple monitor setup simply because I need to wait for those new mounts to come through from John. But once we've got those, we'll be back up and running again, and hopefully we'll be able to do a bunch of videos. I've also got a couple of other things coming up as well. Got a review to do of this GameSir gaming mouse that I've been sent by GameSir. It's a brand that I've never heard of before. So looking forward to reviewing that hopefully this week as well. But that's it for this video, guys. I will see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.